I'm Gwyneth. I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Aiden. I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Molly. I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Lucy. I'm a 7th and 8th grade science teacher at Shelburne Community School.
Nebo, and I'm an 8th grader.
Yeah, I'm Georgia and I'm an 8th grader.
I'm Ava and I'm an 8th grader.
Hi, I'm Jill and I'm also an 8th grader.
So we started learning about the emerald ash borer and kind of what it did to ash trees, and then we did a whole project on that. And I think that's kind of where we started to like learn about this like tree campus.
Yeah. And then I think around like the end of March we had an opportunity to choose an elective, and so I think it was really small at first. It was like 4 people who decided we were going to do like the tree campus elective, try and go for the the K-12 award. So yeah, that's when we started, and then from there, it's definitely grown a lot by a lot of people.
Started as a club.
Yeah, then this year it started as a lunch and recess club once a week.
A lot of the time for science, we go outside, especially during that unit. We went around the campus and we counted all the ash trees that we could see, and we've used that data a lot, just for surveillance and checking to see if they're all still healthy.
More recently, we've gone around and looked at the trees because after the winter, they look a little different, and we want to make sure that they were okay.
I feel zen and I like going outside with the trees and the nature sometimes.
Yeah, I definitely feel more connected to other people when I'm outside. Like, I like to look at the trees and everything, but I also like hanging out with everybody and catching up.
It's a good break because for most of our classes we're all like inside, so when you have the opportunity to just kind of go outside even if you're doing a project, it's a nice way to mix it up.
I think the setup for the whole thing was through like the NGSS Next Generation Science Standards. I ended up just pouring through Vermont's resources on ecology and ecosystems, and that's how I found the K-12 campus certification. That's how I connected with Joanne from Vermont Urban and Community Forestry. Joanne was a huge part of this process. If anyone wanted to do this, and people from Vermont Urban and Community Forestry were willing to connect with schools, I thought it was really helpful and really kind of grounded the project and the club. To have an expert to connect with, I think made it so much more real for us.
If you're gonna apply for the certification, we didn't track exactly how many hours and how everything went, and there are a lot of questions like that when you're filling out the certification application, so it's good to take note of that and then have it in your mind as you have the club.
That way you do less calculation.
Less calculation is the best.
It makes a lot less work.
This, 5 hours of this, multiply that by 10. Staying focused is, I know our group definitely struggled with making sure that we were focused the entire year of just trying to get everything done, and we were able to, but just if you're trying to do this at urban school, really make sure you just stay focused.
We socialized a lot. But it was fun.
Yeah.
Also, if you do end up doing a big project with the school, make sure you take pictures, because I think one of the questions is talking about evidence that you have, and the only pictures we had were of these kits, but it's really important. Just make sure you also get in contact with people who did it, so you know everyone involved, because again, those numbers are really important.
I think one of the challenges that we faced was figuring out how to plan an event for a K school. We're a really big school. When we planned our Arbor Day celebration, we had to really think about what is an activity that we could plan that would be accessible to any teacher who wanted to participate, but not mandatory where we had to stop 700 students from what they were doing and organize all that. So we kind of made it like an opt-in or not situation. We planned an event that was accessible to all, but not schedule changing. We made a project that a teacher could borrow the kit from us, use it in their classroom, and then return it, instead of saying the whole school has to stop and do this at this one time. And so we wanted to make sure that our project was something that people could access if they wanted to, but didn't have to.
I can show you what one of the kits looked like. So pretty much just had questions, and the teacher would take it from the teacher's lounge, and they could hide them around the classroom or go outside and do this if they wanted. And the kids would find them and read what it says. This one says, an average female lays 40 to 70 eggs. Average female Emerald-ash-borer. There's just cool facts that we glued on to them and put in kits.
So it's like a mini scavenger hunt,
Yeah.
and it was trying to help the kids learn about how it's important to try to be on the lookout for these, and also learn a little bit about them in a fun way.
Yeah.
And we tried to make sure that we came up with like an activity for everyone to do that a kindergartner could do and an 8th grader could do, because that's the structure of our school, and we wanted to make sure it was something anyone could participate in.
Yeah, I think it was also a big deal because it was still during hybrid learning, so it was something that was easy that people could take outside if they wanted, or it could be inside.
Yes, it was a COVID-friendly
It was COVID-friendly.
activity.
Exactly. Yeah, and then we have like 32 ash trees I think on our campus, so we like focused the project around that.
Well, this is our Arbor Day activity that we planned. But for the project, what we did was we looked at the Emerald-ash-borer management plans from all the towns in the area that are the ones that have been published at the time. Shelburne has since published theirs, and then we made one for our school. We started with looking at what the other towns have, and what we found out is that they're all kind of structured the same way. And so we kind of built an outline, what's the kind of the skeleton or the framework of how these plans are laid out. And then we went in and made a plan for our school. So they gave background information about ash trees and ash borers, how to identify ash trees, and then we identified and mapped all the trees on our campus that are ash trees, measurements of all the trees. We took the circumference and then did the math to get the diameter of each tree. People went into how can you spread awareness and what is the actual plan, knowing that these trees probably are going to die relatively soon, and we've got 30 of them over parking lots and entryways. We want to make sure that our campus is really safe, and so people made recommendations based on the different locations of like what kind of trees should they be replaced with, in what time frame, and all that.
It gives them a chance to practice activism, like they might not have the opportunity to try anything else, but it's like a chance in the classroom to help out our environment and the community.
Yeah, and I also feel like trees are just a really important part of like ecosystems and just life here on Earth, and making sure that they're cared for so that we have them for a long time is really important. It feels really good to make a difference in something and like know that you were a part of something, that even if you we're going to high school, so even as we go to high school, like we know that we did something for the trees on this campus.
Yeah. So sometimes I get really like stressed out and I have anxiety, and taking walks in the woods really helps me like get out of my head, and it's really good for me. So I like to give back to nature whenever I can, just by helping out on farms or by doing this, and yeah, it feels really good.
Yeah, I think another thing that we did another science unit in Lucy's class about how the carbon cycle works, and I think that it's also important because trees are a really big carbon store, so that is another thing into protecting the environment.
It does feel really good to help the trees because they're such a big part of the ecosystem, and it feels really good to be a part of that change. And kind of like what Molly said, like walking through the woods really does help me kind of put everything out of my head and just focus on nature.
Figuring out how to teach in hybrid learning 2 years ago was, some parts of it felt really easy to me. I think there's so much out there online. It was really easy to bring resources to students, but to help people feel like school still mattered and school was important and school was fun still, I think was really something that I was worried about. Engaging in project-based learning, I think, always draws people in, and I just see really good results and really good growth for kids when they like access their learning through a project. And so I was so happy with the way this project turned out, and just really moved when the kids wanted to like continue it and didn't think like, oh, that project's over, I got my grades, my report card came out, I'm done. I thought it was so wonderful that they wanted to continue. And we have so much fun together. We get a little sidetracked because we like to just hang out, and so it's nice to just like have a little more time with kids that I really enjoy spending time with and that I care about and that I have fun being with. And then B, the fact that we were able to make it like productive and do something that mattered. I mean, this really is something that our campus will have to deal with. We have 30 ash trees here, and you can't ignore that. Like, there's no really other way around it than to figure it out. I feel really good. We have a new principal coming in next year, knowing that I can say, hey, when you signed up to be principal of this school, you probably didn't think about the fact that we've got 30 ash trees that we have to deal with, but don't worry, I have some plans for you. That was made by students. I'm like excited to do that. Be like, guess what, buddy? we've got it all figured out. And so it feels good to like do something real, and I'm proud of them. They were so thoughtful, so planful in their approach, and in organizing this Arbor Day celebration. I think this group cares about inclusivity, cares about the fact that our building is K-8. I think when you think of 8th graders, I think it can be easy to think that, oh, they probably don't care about the little kids in the school, or they don't think about the little kids in the school, but I mean, I have proof that they do. I think our 8th graders here at Shelburne Community School really do care about the younger kids in our school, and I know the tree group really cares about all the other grade levels, not just their own.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've been interviewed. I feel very important now.
I got to miss the wedding thing.
I know, it's
Oh,
perfect.
great.